Hello, hello. So I cannot see anyone here if I start my video or do my presentation or anything else. So just for the beginning, so you know that it will be because of LinkedIn events, it will be 1 or 2 minutes a delay. So yeah, sometimes if I see your question or some comments later, I will answer them very, very quick. So now for the beginning, my name is Robert Kopi. Just a little bit to myself. I lived in Germany my whole life. I studied computer science and engineering. So yeah, I know the theory about all of AI and machine learning models, Gen AI, neural networks. But I also know how to use it practically. Like I did not only study it at the university in Hamburg, the technical. I also used it while I was studying some different tools, built also my own machine learning models, and now I'm using for so many years Gen AI practically for my companies. Yeah, about my companies just shortly. I have more companies. One is doing the voice systems and building some platforms to connecting a whole system of AI workers and many more things. And the other two are being a speaker and doing some workshops in Cyprus and in other countries. And the other part is teaching AI practically how to use it for German clients and English speaking clients. So that is all about me, just shortly. I will now start directly going into Claude Code. This time we will use a terminal. I will just show you quickly the UI about the app, just so you know this exists and that you could also use it inside the app and you don't need even to use a terminal. So let me share my screen. So now you should see my screen. I have to drop this out. Test, test. Test, test. Test, test. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, I'm not sure. Can you hear me now or not? Aber wieso ist es doch eben funktioniert, als ich nochmal ein Video anhatte, oder? So now I believe actually it's working. Now it should work. I did work behind. Weird, it's only working with that option. So yeah, about Claude, we will go into it very quickly. We have the app, but also the terminal. So you have the most important options, plan mode and ask person permissions and accept edits. I believe you will use in the beginning only 2 and 3. If you have more idea, you would use ask permission, or you trust what you said in Claude itself, then you do the auto mode, which is only possible with different models like Opus itself. Now, I would say let's hop into our task. Our task is today to write an outreach mail, and I would use now Claude Code in the terminal because I work longer with that and it's the same. For me, it's easier. Or let's put it directly big. You only put Claude if you installed it already. And then it started. Of course, we don't need this mode. We will use the plan mode. I want to write. Well, let me use this mic if possible. So I want to have 100 people in my list. Maybe you can collect lists with an ICP about real estate people. I just need the number and the email. Can you create me a Google Sheet, which I have access about later? And in the Google Sheets, please collect 100 real estate people in Dubai. And after that, I wish to write an email, the first outreach, only the first outreach to the real estate people in Dubai. How can I do that? Or which options do I have? Name me, please, 5 before we plan. This, I'm not sure if I said it last time, but I will say it more often because not everyone is the same. Maybe you visited this time, the first time, this workshop. So yeah, I used to install some skills and I also did some settings. That's why I have this status line. I can see some things like my usage, then my weekly usage, not only the 5 hour, but also in which directory or all folder structure I am, and what the things are like in my memory, which work things I have. And I also built a learning mechanism. So it is the reinforcement part where it see how things work, and if it makes something right, it gets a point, and if it makes something wrong, it gets a minus point. Yes. Just for you to know, it is also important to set it up somehow. I mean, not only what I did, I mean, in general, the skills and maybe also the memory with a proper file structure. But let me see what it did. So recent I would use because I have it and it is in the beginning also for free. I think I want to skip the parts where we use tools. Can we skip clay and other tools? So we stick only with sheets, and if needed, recent. Because I know it's not only needed to use recent, you can also skip recent if you want. You can use it directly in Gmail, so you have to set it up. It will tell you exactly how to set it up if you ask properly. And you have to do way more follow-ups, but you will get also a Gmail part. If you are a Mac user or an Apple user in general, you could also activate it through an app script. So it will have access or open the Mail app, and it will also write all the drafts before, and then you have to decide which one you send and which one you have to change before to send. We say now mod mixed recent. Sometimes it's also asking you questions, as you see. You can switch anytime the model. If the task is over, you can change it. I'm currently now using the strongest model. Why? Because I have enough tokens. But also, even though it's slower, but all in all, it will be faster because things building, I would do it mostly with Opus. If it's, I don't know, something what you would nearly do every day and which is very easy for most of the tasks every day, and then you would use Sonnet. And it is almost done. Very good. Let's see what it is saying. Yes, we will use Cloud Native skills for doing the web search. So in my case, if you want to do that with and very quick and dirty, like very fast, then you don't need the Google Drive part. Of course, you will have this document local, and then you can write it. I just wanted to put it directly in the drive, so I also connected it. So that's why it's for me easier now to make it. But even the connection, you will ask how to connect, and then it will do the part. Now, what is the offer pitch? I will tell you the offer later. Detected. Yes, we wanted to do in cold email. We can also, it suggested me to use a subdomain like outreach @send. before using my real domain, which is beautiful. Needs DKIM and okay. Let's do that. If it's taking longer than 30 minutes, only for doing this part, then we must skip it because we can optimize at the end. We shall have an easy workflow for doing the first outreach and also for scraping the leads from Google Maps. Phone number in this part, I would say nice to have. Of course, if you should do this if you want to call them, but I don't want to call them now. I have other ideas with it, with my software I built behind it. I know we already connected recent on other parts. After you scraped the leads, just test it. I mean, prove if it's right more times. That is what I wanted to say with test it, the output. And everything is already connected. And I am now showing a demonstration for people who, I would say, maybe not connected it and not built a workflow yet. So maybe you can also tell me the steps, what normally we would do if we are not connected. I mean, all the steps. This would be very great. You can put this, I would say, summary and instruction at the end, so I know what we did, but also I can show it to my people. So maybe I should also write use Google Maps for it. Okay, it is telling me the web search identify Dubai real estate agencies. So he is telling me his strategy. I believe his strategy is not I would say not the best, and not the easiest, because you can use Google Maps. He won't use Google Maps. He wanted to go into the websites separately. So searching through Google and going to the pages or to the companies one by one, and the risk would be that we have only 60 to 80 records. Yeah, of course we can work with that, but let's see if he can use it with Google Maps. Normally you have already collected your leads. This is just for demonstration. Okay. He's now planning with information. Yes, very good. First part, second part, validate the outputs. Yes, that is understandable. And demo log, what you would do from scratch instruction. That's just for the part before the connection. Just the instructions before the connection, we will go through it. No problem. It's wild. It's already searching. What? 25 lines. Okay, he will also explain that in the document. The web search part and web fetch. So in this case, guys, if you use recent, you don't need to put the recent keys on Vercel. You don't need it. Vercel is for me just the things where I deploy the websites, because I'm building the websites not with a website builder. I'm building the websites with React, JS, and many more things like JavaScript. That is why I choose Vercel, and I'm now migrating from Vercel to Cloudflare for the things of the work, like my projects where where I do my programs, and all the other things for the clients are stored in a German server, and that is pure separated because it's important to have that. And keep that in mind. You can use a recent or the Apple script also without Vercel. It's just because of me. I did connect the domain properly with a recent, but I did not do it on my own. I just said to Claude to connect it, but I also opened the part with computer use. So Claude is only using it and put all the keys to Vercel, and it was also setting up properly. I just had to go to Namecheap, where I bought my domain, and just put only one line, which Claude Code told me exactly. So in this case, Claude will tell you everything. Of course, it will also sometimes lie. So you have to prove it, to test it. And yeah, whenever you test it, you will find it out, but don't expect it will do the things on the first try perfect. It won't. So it will sometimes lie to you, sometimes not. And you have to ask and you have to test. So for testing and asking, you don't need to be a developer. You will just test it. You go on for example, if it's a landing page or on a formula or something, you will test it one by one. And normally when you do things, you will have it locally. So please be careful with that. Connect it with GitHub, where you can store some things. And if this program gets bigger, then of course you will use for deploying to the internet. So it will be accessible not only to you, also to others with Cloudflare or Vercel. I would use the Cloudflare workers for €5 per month. You can do many things with that. Vercel is better somehow and faster, but you are paying a bunch of money for that. Yeah, like I'm paying only €5 per month only for building. Like I can deploy every day 10 or 100 websites, and it won't cost me more than that. In Vercel, it looks different. You would pay more than 100, I would say, if you make 100 websites or 1,000 websites live. It is, yeah. You see, it is doing the work. It's fetching. We don't want to have the automation in the scraping part. Of course, we can do it. You have to tell it and do 2 or 3 follow-ups, and then you have it. But the goal today is not doing that. Today is the goal of building very quickly an email automation for the first outreach. And you will see my way. and then we will look, if we have time, into the document part. Of course, you have to tell it what to do, and not any follow-ups until I say so. Now it's creating the sheets. So I also said after this, make me two documents, like one document accessible to show what we did here, and a document where we see what we would do if we do not have all the connections and accounts. So yeah. And anyway, you would find it out thanks to Claude, because you ask and you plan somehow also with it. So yeah, I will use, by the way, one thing here. Yeah, it should be possible. It's a good skill which I installed. It is from the founder of Y Combinator, I guess, or the CEO. Yeah, he's using it for programming something. So in this case, of course, Claude would do that maybe also without GStack, but I want to be 100% sure, because with that, it is programming with many agents and doing it properly. So we activate the sub-agent-driven development, means we activate more agents for development, but also some agents for testing. I believe. I mean, also you could scale with email sequence. We will look into that one. But let's see. These emails are fully verified. Okay, unverified in the info ad. email format is valid. One duplicate and MX records. These domains can receive emails. Okay, good. Findings. You see it's pushing all the details. Okay, this is the first clean data set. We can do the next, let's say, the next part and the last part. That's what you normally would do to get the rest of the leads if you collect them. Yes. Or if you already collected, you have it somewhere stored in the CRM. So you have also an MCP to the CRM. Or you already store it somewhere in the drive in Google Sheets, where you also connected this to Claude Code. Email draft. So, and I also said, what are the next steps? Of course, this won't be read now. This is now the task. After it's finished, after it's finished, it will take this one. So yeah, it will maybe build, and if not, I have just to do some manual clicks, and then it will be done. Okay. You can do all the things by your own, so you just have to install the right skills. Yeah, of course, if that is needed for right skills or setting it up properly, you have to write it in the comments, and if it's, I would say, strongly needed, I will organize it and show you how to set it up properly, but it will take more time. Yeah. So, and it is also important to have an, I would say, space where to save all the sessions and all the work. Because without a brain and without a memory, it is hard to work on a project, a long-term project, or on your company. So yeah, that is just important to know. So, and of course, if you do not have a proper file structure, it will be also hard for Claude to perform well, because it has to read everything and then to filter on its own, which is important, which is not. And it will consume a bunch of tokens and get a bit confused. So yeah, be very aware of it. So now we can see the draft, because I did not want to create a document for that. So we see the draft here in the terminal. This would be the headline. This is the email itself. It has information about me, which is necessary if you want to work with Claude for any project, for everything what you are doing. It has to have your information. So not only for this automation or task. So this is not needed, but we can have it inside. So of course, we should not send the email because I do not know so much about the rules in the UAE, so I don't want to violate it. So yeah, here you need to add a physical address, the 60 days off free offer. Of course, I don't want to show you my actual no-brainer or offers. We don't need it here, but this would be the offer to them. So I have to show them my platform, but also my agents, and they can use it 60 days for free. It's now not really possible because we have softwares and not only tools using. So I'm not allowed to send the email. But we can test it and see if it lands. So I must just add my email and send it to me. But I will paste in the next message. Send only a test email, the one you already created, and send it to my email and not to anyone else. This part, of course, you don't write it because you want to send it to everyone. I just don't want. It will interrupt my processes. And we don't know the rules here. So the next steps in order are reviewing the email draft. He's also giving me this hint, which is very good and important because I would not know it. And that means I would maybe send the email without it. So with it, of course, now not. So then after it, but let's understand this firstly. It built the automation already, so we just have to test it. It reads the sheet, filter the ones which is unsent, then if it's valid, it will, the email, if it's valid, it will send via resend. And then you see exactly when it's sent with the timestamp. And this is what it will do for you. And the first run is the right run. Yes, very good. And then it will add the daily cron to it. Let me just copy it because after our session I will have to delete the things. We have two HTML docs, the thing what we built and the thing from Sketch Guide. And the Sketch Guide, it is not even a bunch of work. It's just a small part which you would do in the beginning. So we would use this the cron and the cell, means recent also already connected the cell and built this cron, means the automation, the routine. It's crazy because I only created a recent account and I also created a Vercel account. Then of course you have normally to set it up properly with your domain. It did the most of the work of a domain. It did the connection with a cell and resend just by saying, do it please. And then test it please. So with these follow-ups and skills, it's easier. So yes, what was manual work, it's just using the prompts, but also the manual work was going to Namecheap and just follow the instruction from Claude Code. Because sometimes it writes the instruction. Sometimes you have to say, hey, I have no idea how to connect it properly. Can you give me the exact steps? Or can you explain it as a 7 years old? And then it will, and it will give you the instructions. And now we have to decide only the ones which are verified. And sender reputation. Higher bounce risk. What does interesting. So this is very well. Why? Because I wrote to Claude to save it in next to the memory folder, a rule, never use skills if you don't need them. So it should, of course, activate some skills by its own, because I told so, but I'm also activating them. And yeah, it gives me feedback because I said, don't activate. And even though if I activate, it will say it does not apply here. So we don't need this programming power in this part because it's even easier than we thought. Maybe we would use it if we don't want to connect with recent, if we say, hey, let's build an app script. But trust me, guys, these easy things, you don't need these skills. If you do advanced things, then of course you should upgrade with skills. If you see the results are not beautiful enough, then you have to do that. Then you have to install and search the right skills, and you will search and find them, by the way, in a GitHub repository. And so you have to say marketing skill or email skill or email, and then, for example, writing Claude Code, GitHub. And then you find some skills which can fit. First of all, you should install the skills from Anthropic itself. So yeah, that is mucho importante. Very, very important. Let's write Control O. This is funny. It's crazy how many things it uses. And what it is doing, yeah, the whole time, like how fast. You see only 25 minutes and you see like, what did it do? It's doing so many things at the same time. Like it is sometimes, if you don't activate the sub-agents, it's still so fast that you think like, how did it write the code like 1,000 lines in such a short period of time, for example? And of course, if you split then the agents and have it more in parallel, then you could do that in that same amount of time, nearly same amount of time, if you have enough computing power. with computing power, I mean your computer, how strong it is, how strong the GPU and the CPU is. And then you could run even more sub-agents and accomplish even 10 times or 20 times more in the same time if you have enough computation power. So funny, is also telling me inbox or spam. So let's find it out. We want to open in the spam. Is in the spam. Okay. Nothing into the spam, and then the inbox. And the promotions part. You see the draft. Looks beautiful. Of course, this is a sign of AI. Not every time, but I would say this is not necessary. Put them out. But it looks quite good. I mean, do you see how fast? The only thing what you would do is taking 10 or 20 minutes and use the instruction of Claude to connect this. Of course, if you use the recent part, you would need to have a domain. If you don't use recent, for example, using it directly with an Apple script or directly with Gmail, then you might not need a domain, but you would not use, you could not use recent. For recent, you need a domain you have to buy from Namecheap or GoDaddy or somewhere else. That is very important. In this case, sometimes I had it not with this laptop. I had it with a different computer that it might go wrong. It means here I got a draft, yes, sometimes telling me it did it, but it did not. So that's why I wanted to test it. Here I'm very sure it is also capable of sending it afterwards. Why? Because I had never a problem with that. But one of my colleagues, this was a different part. It did not even have it on my other computer, but a friend of mine, it was only sent the email like this. And when you wanted to send the emails for the 40 or 100 people, then it did not. So sometimes it will happen. Switch to Opus or use a proper skill like GStack. You need to download it. If you don't want to, you will use a native on-topic skill set plugin. It is the sub-agent part, like the superpowers. And then you would use the sub-agent-driven development, but also the test agent development. So it will program better and faster and also test. So here it is beautiful that we could have access to the Outwatch demo. Okay, data automation post, waiting your green light on the draft. Perfect. DNS set up for dedicated code subdomain. So this part, This is an extra part. You don't need this part but I want this part. Of course, I will delete the informations later after our meet, but I want this part, the code subdomain. If you want to write, for example, for clients, because we have now some clients which want to do a big cold outreach. And that's why we should use, if you want to send more than 1,000 or 10,000 emails per day, then you should use this for real. If you have a cold subdomain, it won't directly destroy your image, and your proper domain won't be directly restricted. But you can also skip this part with a cold subdomain, and you can buy even more domains for saving your ban or ban risk, because you have to warm up the emails, like 20 emails per day in the beginning, and then go step by step even higher. Yes. So yeah, all in all, it's done. So later, after my event in 30 minutes, but now open the document to show quickly what we did now, and the other part, which steps are missing, or which steps have to be done if we do not have all these accounts and connections. Now we can use accept edits. You can switch with Shift and tap the mode. If it's plan mode, accept mode, auto mode. Here you would write model, as we said before, just for the people who arrived later. Of course, the document will maybe look good or very ugly. We will see. But it is writing too much and sometimes saying blah, 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 which we don't need. So for that, yes. Here we can access the sheet, by the way. So, end tests, it did perfect because we had the test-driven development on. My ID from Impact newsletter. Perfect. Only reviewed, approved draft. Very good. And the list of what it is scraped and what is in the list. And you see the list. You can even say, please make the list, the Google Sheet, more beautiful, more attractive, and describe it even better. And yeah, it's strong, yeah. It's strong what is capable. So workflow we executed. So what does it? What did it do? So we did the discovery, like we said what we want, the ICP, and then it go with a skill, which was native integrated in Claude web search. And then it is going to all the registries. And the thing is, it was searching for websites and going to the contact site and to then press on. And with the other web search skill, it was only on the Google Maps for taking the informations. But of course it was doing this part, and then went on the website itself to get all the emails to prove them that they exist on the website. These things you don't need to understand properly. I can explain it to you, but it is not the goal today because we have 9 at my time. But it did this work, created the sheet, scraped all the leads, explained where the data came, and now it built also the routine. It is just now saved as a routine. Means everything what will come here into this Google sheet, it will be seen because it is looking every day now at 9 a.m. for searching this Google Maps in Dubai research. Of course, you could do and add more details to it. For example, do every day a different city, or change, for example, or sort it with starting with not word with a capital A, for example, then capital B. So it also explained you where the data comes. Now, because everything was connected, it built it very quickly for you. It is 30 minutes. This is what it's saying. It is not the best estimation. Of course, you have to have a Google account. Then you need Claude, of course. This part you can skip if you have already Claude, because you asked Claude. It was understanding me a step earlier before using Claude. But here it is saying optional, because if you want to use recent, buy on Namecheap, for example, or Cloudflare or GoDaddy, and then connect it with Claude and save it also somewhere, because you will need it if you will host your website separately. So you will need it to connect recent then with wherever you saved or host the website. In this example, if you build the website on your own and not with Website Builder, then it is, for example, through Vercel or through a connection of Cloudflare with a programming language, of course, JavaScript, HTML, and React.js, and things like that. And here is also the thing, it's saying never send 100+ code emails from your main work email or Gmail. So that is why I recommend buying more domains or creating subdomains, but you could do even both. And just asking, again, our beautiful Claude, I'm very sure that for the people who never used Claude and not set it up properly, you may need 30 minutes longer or 1 hour longer, because then Claude Code or Claude is dumb somehow without proper memory about anything. Even though if you did this step without memory, you have to ask it to scan everything from you to make it happen. And here, what I also built for a client was this part and this part without instantly a name list. But what it was recommended, of course, here creating a recent account, you could send 100 emails per day for free. So in the beginning, you don't need more. Maybe you need more if you want to make it for 5 or 10 domains. Then, of course, you should do this or this 20 or 50. Sorry, 20, or it was 100, I guess, the next stage. 20, it would be enough for 5 or 10 domains to warm them up, because you have unlimited daily, but monthly 50,000. So you could see everything. All the outreach you see, is it bounced or not bounced? Is the email arrived? Is it opened? All the things, you will see it inside a recent. What you would need is also Gmail with an app script. Means here, if you would not use recent, you would only build an app script, which Claude will do. You will just say, it is working. Oh, it's not working. Can you test it? Can you test it again? No, I see no mistakes, and now it's working. Like, this could be the follow-up, or this could be the steps. When it is done, like, it is like magic. You see, in my case, it is only black on the screen, but you see what it did. Here, of course, it's more beautiful with the Cloud app. But I need all the resources for building big things. So yeah, this was then the sending tool, where it is building for you the automation. Of course, if you need more, or if you have more time, you can also buy an 8N for an automation, and Claude could build the automation, and you have to connect, but it is taking hell long, very long with an 8N, and it is not beautiful. But what you can also do is an app script, or general scripts, or for Apple, it would be an app script, or mail app script, the name it was. Yeah, the actual demo. Of course, you have to have your ICP precisely. It's not only that, you have to be very precise. Of course, this AI will help you, and asking some questions to get it. Then here, for example, you have a resource list, or you would write this prompt. You can also ask him for a proper prompt to ask Claude. That means you ask Claude for a proper prompt for prompting with Claude. But if you did this part precisely, it is okay. Then you say how the output should look like if you scrape the thing. Where should it store? If you want to have not only Claude that looks on the sheet, you could also build inside Google Sheets an app script where it checks every day at a certain time you wish for. But this part with the Google app script will take at least 3 or 4 follow-ups, because it will throw some errors. You will copy it or screenshot it with, and then you will get every time a new solution until it's the right solution. So, but if you train it, it will be even better. So this part we don't need, because if you have the data, you don't need it. So yeah, here, that is what you could do. We had it already in my part with a format check. So here you would just copy a format check. The MX record check means it has to have the alphabet, it has to have the numbers, some I'm not sure how to say it. Yeah, it is in general many things, like an alphabet and an @ because you see here it is the name. Then you have plus @ means this part is something saved, a domain. Because this is, for example, after the plus here, it will be, for example, .com, .io, and then what will come after it. For example, the / it's not needed, but it can also be slash real estate after your domain. But yeah, this is in my part a minus or dash impact. But you don't need to understand everything. So you have the AI, don't need to be a developer. But if you are, you can even understand it even better. If not, it's not a problem, because you can be a developer with Claude, and you see here he is saying you can do a new Google Sheet and paste the CSV. This part is a lie, because it did it without. But here you would give an access via AI. Let's go to the part here. I wanted to show you something. Maybe this will help. Like, for example, we want to have an access to the connectors, and then we just go to this connectors, add connector, or activate it, and then it will activate it. You have to do some steps, which will tell you, because the AI will tell you the exact steps. Sometimes it's completely right, sometimes it forgets some small steps in between. So we'll ask it again, and then you will just do, and then you have a connection. Let's go back here. Then you would say, please write me an email with a reason, with my ICP, with a CTA, and with an unsubscribe link. I did not need it in my case, because I added in the beginning when I started Claude. After some days, as I recognize the results are not constantly good and not getting better and better and better. So yeah, after some days, I started setting it up properly within folder structure. But there are outside also some skills which tell you also about the folder structure. Yeah, but back to this part, and then you can test it before the mass send. You will look at if it lands in your inbox. It landed not in the spam, but it was filtered from my Gmail. It was like social media or just ads, means here it landed in the promotion folder. Yeah. Here. Okay, good. We are near at the end. But here, then you will test it before it will send. What will be tested? Your email you wrote, but you connected it with, for example, recent in my case, or if you do it with Gmail, with AppScript, or with a tool instantly.ai, or with AppScript from Apple or from Outlook, or what else it is, it will build it for you, of course, with some follow-ups, and then you can test it, what you wrote, because then it will land in your inbox, and it will also test these, I'm not sure how to say it, but these is what you need for email and domain. So if also Claude would say this part passes, means very good, and the rest you will test on your own while you are seeing the email, is this unsubscribe link working or not, is this rendered on mobile good or not. You will just test it, and then if you think everything is good and nice, and this, when you say please save exactly this automation, and we do it now every day at 9 a.m. I will put new informations, or I will do this, or you will tell him, please do as we did today, the search and then the script. So then you send the batch, for example, here, less than 30 in an hour, maximum 100 per day, if it's warm or warmer. So you can send more, but it can be blacklisted, and then more and even more emails will bounce. So yeah, be careful. I will also start the next days. As I said, I have recent bigger. I will start some email campaigns. I have very big lists, and yeah, I will try this out with even more domains to be not blacklisted. So I will send only 20 or 30 per email, which is not the domain which is not warm. The ones which are warm, you can ask Claude or just take the 100. And this part we don't need, but if you want to further understand it, then you should look into it, because then you will see which was marked as not, please do not send, and the part where the email is empty. Why the email is empty? Because not email found. Invalid domain, because the domain did not existed in the matters of it was there in Google Maps, but it was not a website, because may change the website and the domain, but never updated it for us to find it quickly under this name. Here, by the way, we can go now into recent, so I can show you, and that is the last part I would show you now. Yes, this is the last part. Very good. So now you see some emails delivered. Sending. I don't want to show everything. Yes. Okay. There you see all the emails which were sent. I am at a different account, so that I can check now with recent. Oh, sorry for Confucius. It was even a different email. So yeah, it delivered 28 minutes ago. So you see this email was, or this domain was not warm enough. So you see how many bounced. It's very dangerous. So be very careful. So yeah, it's good to see that, to stop in future automations and make them slower. All in all, you saw everything, that it created you this, that it created you an automation. You just have to create these accounts. Just have to create an account, a Gmail account, for example, recent if you want to use this, what I did, and then you will have Namecheap or something where you have your domains accessible. If you want to drive with this way, want to drive a different way, of course, you will do different settings. As you saw, Claude helped us a lot with that. You don't need, you just need to ask it properly and it will deliver. So all in all, you saw now how fast we built this system, and yeah, it's working. So what should I say? Of course, with saying in the session, hey, please save it, and also building a proper file structure, it will find it every day and it will start at 9 o'clock. Of course, it will be even better if you have your computer on, because this is not, because we run Claude Code now on the local computer and not on a server. So please have it on, and that's it. So it will just send all the things when your computer is on. So yeah, you can change things because it's saved, saying, hey, maybe we should scrape from somewhere else, or maybe I will send you a different format. Can you work with this? Or you just add it in the same format, a new list before 9. But then you should cancel the scraping script or the scraping automation, and then it will just start the automation with the details, informations you put in. So yeah, I would say all in all, thank you very much for listening. If you need any help, please write in the comments or write me directly. If you need more help or software or programming or any coachings, let me know, but write me also privately and directly what you want from me. I will help you, even if it's building things or if it is consulting and doing a workshop for you. So thank you very much, and thank you for your time, and see you in the next weeks. Bye.